what that means. Yeah, Wine Wednesday. Join your host, James McGee, for a glass of wine and discussion about current events. No matter what's going on in the world, it's easier to swallow mixed with some wine.
Welcome back to the James McGee Show, Wine Wednesday. I am your host. I am James McGee. So first thing I'm going to talk about is what I am drinking. I am drinking Il Grigio Chianti. So it is a really good Chianti. It's an Italian wine, a really good wine. It's right around $19, $20. We try to keep wine on Wine Wednesday. Wine we highlight at around $20. This at the top of it. And let me tell you, it's well worth it. It's really good. I bought it this weekend. Had it left over from a engagement party that we threw for one of actually she was the flower girl in my wife and I's wedding. So so that bottle means something, and also just tastes good. Had a pretty rough Wednesday, so that wine is definitely feeling good tonight. So what I want to talk about for the next several Wednesdays, all the way till November, is the highly anticipated and highly talked about and wild presidential election. It's only going to get wilder. It's when you have somebody like Donald Trump, it's no choice but to be wild. But then you throw Kamala Harris in it, and it's going to be a showdown. I think it's right now it looks like it's closer than maybe we would have thought, and Republicans like me would like right now. But I think that's going to work itself out. There's always going to be some energy behind a new candidate, especially when you had such a boring disaster of a candidate as Joe Biden. But we can't tell you you can't. They're going to try to separate her from Joe Biden. And hey, if I was running her campaign, that's what I would do too. But I think the Republicans will make sure the American voters remember how bad the last 4 years has been, and hold her accountable for it just as much as Joe Biden. So my purpose here, and I'm going to tell you, I'm a Republican. I'm a Trump supporter. I have not always been, I'm not always, and say I go back and forth on Trump does some things I don't like. And I don't like some things about him. I'm not a diehard Trumper. I'm just not. I like his policies. I like some of the things that he stands for. Some of the work that he wants to do, especially on the border and especially the economy. You can't argue that the border is a total disaster in the last 4 years. The economy is maybe even worse of a disaster than the border. I think they coincide together. That's why I support him. But the man has flaws. Kamala Harris damn sure has flaws too. So each week I'm going to pick a topic. But we can't pick any topics. We can't discuss any issues until we get the number one thing out of the way. Both candidates' morals. I was involved in politics for a very long time. I have been involved in some fairly large regional and local races. Been around national politicians who own national offices, local. If you think that every politician doesn't have flaws, and you're nuts. You can portray, and I participated in branding politicians. They're not who they are branded to be. Human beings, they make mistakes. And here's the other thing. There is no worse cutthroat profession or environment than politics. And I believe a lot of politicians get into politics with the right intentions. They're going to maintain their morals. They're going to maintain their ethics. It's impossible. The culture, the atmosphere, the swamp, as it described, it ruins people. It absolutely ruins people. And we just, Donald Trump, the media loves attacking his morals. And you know what? He's one hell of a target. The man has lived, he has lived one hell of a life when it comes to just, been married 3 times, been, well documented the affairs. He's a womanizer. Okay. That's what he is. You're not going to find many politicians who are better, who haven't done the same things that he has done. He has just been a high-profile man his entire life. He welcomes that. He he embraces it. He loves it, and he makes really no bones about who he is. And why do we think just because the media has a bias against him, and anybody that says that is fucking says they don't is fucking nuts. The media has a bias against Donald Trump. They hate him. Look at what the liberals and look what the media has tried to do to this man. Look at what they have called. He's now a convicted felon over some bullshit. I've covered that, over some bullshit. All these civil suits, they have tried to bankrupt him with legal fees in civil suits. They've tried to just destroy him and his family. And then somebody, and hopefully it all comes out, tries to assassinate him. His character's been assassinated. Financially, he's being assassinated. And then he was physically assassinated. That's how bad the liberals and the media do not want Donald Trump to be president again. But we have got to stop letting the media dictate what our beliefs are and who we are. So I guess you could say people like me and other people who have podcasts are trying to, you're using their platform to, I'm, like I said, I'm a Donald Trump supporter. I'm Republican. I am anti Joe Biden. I am anti Kamala Harris. But I'm not a journalist. I'm not a person reporting the news. I'm a person with a podcast, and I'm straight up with where I stand. Where the danger is where the media is masking it, and they're intentionally leaving things out, and it's just so obvious and so biased. I was telling a friend of mine today that all of a sudden on my TikTok feed, and my algorithm does not dictate this, I promise you, it was nothing today. Every other thing I looked at was something positive about Kamala Harris. Now you tell me that that's not being controlled by TikTok. The same thing on these other platforms. The same thing. And I have something I tried to that's in review right now that probably won't be published. And it was the title of it was "The Media Controlling Our Thoughts." So TikTok's just going to throw it away. they'll probably throw this away whenever I make a short and put that on there. But they're doing everything that they can. But so that's why it's important. Now, I'm gonna give opinions, but I'm gonna give some facts too. So let's get some facts about Kamala Harris. All of a sudden, and I'm gonna get into the border next week. I'm gonna cover the border, but all of a sudden, the media is trying to cover her being in charge of the border czar. So now all of a sudden, she's not the border czar. How can you get any more biased and any more obvious? They're just so obvious with it. They're so in our face with that. So let's look at Kamala Harris's background. She is a career. She was a prosecutor. She was an attorney, but she's a career politician. That's all she's ever done. And it is not even an opinion of the immoral acts that she has committed in her power, abuse of her power to get where she wants. She's never built anything. She's never built a private company. She's never built anything. She has just been a climber. She's done whatever she could, morally or immoral, to get to the top. She's had affairs. She was a mistress to her boss, and was appointed to positions that she wasn't qualified for. So let's talk about her morals too. Let's get that out of the way. I want to talk about real issues starting next week. But let's get the moral thing out of the way. Because you go to Washington, D.C. and find anybody with a straight moral compass, good luck. Good luck to that. Because like I said, even if they showed up with one, then you're not going to make it. You're just not going to make it. You're going to sacrifice your ethics. You're going to sacrifice your morals. It's the system that we have created. And it's a sad thing because there's been some really good people that have really gone a different way. So getting back to the moral part, what we have to look at is, and that I know that's a big deal, but we just got to put that aside, and we're going to have to look at each issue. And like I said, starting next week, we're going to look at each issue and take, their affairs and take their past, but put that aside and look at who is the best person to run our country. Both of them have done immoral things. I'm not saying they're immoral people. They have committed immoral acts, many. So let's just get that out of the way and let's look at the real issues. Let's not look at affairs. Let's not look at enemy wives or husbands they've had. And let's look at their qualifications, where they stand, and the real issues. That's where I think that we have to head. I think that what you have to ask yourself, if we're going to go down each one of them, is where do I stand on immigration and the border? Who's the best person for me for where I stand? Where do I stand on the economy? Who's the best person for that? Where do I stand on abortion? Where do I stand on all these different issues? And make your decision that way. Don't make your decision on the rhetoric and the popularity of any candidate. Look who's best for this country. And I know already for where I stand, Donald Trump is. And that's who's getting my vote. But platforms like mine are how we counter what the mainstream media, because they're trying to control us. They're trying to brainwash us by only giving us what they want to give us. That's not how it works. That's not how it should be. So next Wednesday, we will cover what my main concern is, and that is the border, and that is immigration, and that will come out with some facts. But I wanted to, on the first show dedicated to this election, I wanted to go ahead and get the morals out of the way. So until then, until next week, McGee is out.